And welcome everybody to the Upsurge Contenders League, where tonight we're going to have a couple of teams, of course, facing off here for us. HoneyBEE Sports up against Purple Caster Minions. My name is Visions. Joined with me is Switch. Switch, we're getting ready to jump in towards a match here for week number 4. Both of these teams currently find themselves in the middle of the pack. HoneyBEE Sports 2-1, Purple Caster Minions 1-2. So as we progress through the 7-week season here, heading in towards playoffs here in about a month, it is very important to try and settle yourself up towards that top 4. So obviously you have a chance at making it to that playoff bracket.
Yep, absolutely right, Visions. It's just all about keeping consistent performances from here on out, especially because of the fact that both of these teams in the middle of the pack right now. They're in the clump. A lot of other people, a lot of other teams rather, sharing the same score as them right now. Purple Caster Minion, they're at that 1-2 spot, or yeah, 1-2 spot. While on the other hand, HoneyBEE Sports, they are at the 2-1 spot. So at the moment, they're both doing relatively good. Their trajectory seems quite all right, but you're going to want to pick it up closer to the end of the season as we progress forward. Let's talk a little bit about Purple Caster Minions, because this is actually a junior varsity team representing, I believe, they were in ULOL. They were also in Pac-12. They've been performing in a lot of different tournaments, but this is, of course, their chance to really start to shine here in Upsurge. They competed multiple times in Upsurge, but this is just their re-entrance into it after taking a break for a little bit of time. But overall, still trying to represent University of Washington here, and hopefully trying to make their best mark as they come into this next match.
That's right. Trying to, of course, show us what they're capable of doing here on Summoner's Rift here for themselves in this best of 3 on the night. HoneyBEE Sports, a team that we're fairly familiar with. Switch, we've gotten a chance to cast over a few of these players and seen what they're capable of doing. We know that they have it within them. They got the synergy, they got the practice in. Now it's about getting things done here for the Contenders League itself. And well, there's a couple highlight players I think we're going to be watching out for. I think Baboom is definitely one of those mid laners that can pull out some of these flashy champions, but also can play completely meta within what we have currently for us. So definitely a man to watch out for here in Axel, another champion or player rather that is able to play champions that are pretty effective through the early to mid game and kind of build up his team a lead. So going to be watching in for that. And well, heading in towards the draft will be very, very soon here for us. And talking about that, a lot of champions right now within the meta here for us that can be flexed around. Most notably, I think the Ornn, what some people consider to be, one of the strongest champions in the game at the moment here for a Switch, as well as the set. There's a lot of champions that have the ability to play so many different roles, and that's what makes the drafting phase here for us so entertaining.
Yep, I absolutely think it's worth mentioning the top lane meta right now, because if you look at HoneyBEE Sports top laner, Jupsakid, doesn't quite play any of these traditional ones like you were mentioning, the Ornn and the set. Not really some of his most played top laners. He usually aims more towards some of these split pushers, the Fiora, the Riven, as we've seen before, sort of playing around this split push top lane style. And that goes for the entirety of HoneyBEE Sports. They play untraditional League of Legends, but they are very accustomed to playing their own style. So it's really important to see and really important to think about some of these top lane matchups. Like you talk about Fiora versus Ornn. Is that a safe first pick for Purple Caster Minion to really pick up? We'll have to wait and see what they have prepared coming into this next pick and ban phase to possibly counteract some of these split pushers that Jupsakid can bring out.
That's right. Well, here we are. We are in the draft phase here for us now. And so far, some of the bans coming down going to be the Rakan and Rumble, at least taken away off the table here in towards phase number 1. The response thus far here has been the Kled. So seeing some pinching towards some of these top laners that you were already mentioning that might arise here for us. And now that some of them have been pinched here already in phase 1, now that might just give us the opportunity to see some of these top laners actually coming out in phase 1 picks rather than phase 2.
Yeah, we'll have to see. Of course, you're probably going to want to save some of your top lane picks for later in the ban phase if you're HoneyBEE Sports, just to ensure that you're getting the right 1v1. But I mean, we talk about that Rumble ban, no surprise there. Baboom, it's sort of his signature mid champion, and I love Rumble as well. Just the versatility of being able to swap between the mid and the top lane. It's just a powerful pick right now, still worthy of being picked in this current meta. So like to see it coming out. You can also run it for Jupsakid as well. So nice versatility there. The Aurelion Soul, that's once again pointed towards Baboom. And the Rakan, of course, just the support of choice for HoneyBEE Sports.
That's right. And The response thus far here and towards the other side of the draft, of course, the Leona taking away some of this engage from that support role. The Trundle also a pinch in towards the jungle, but have seen it played top here through the amateur scene a tiny bit in towards what sometimes is that Ornn. However, first pick going to be locked in, and that is going to be the Olaf. Haven't seen as much priority on this champion here within the recent patch here for us, but going to be popped out here for us for game number 1.
Yeah, absolutely. It's still quite solid. I see it picked a lot in LCS. And it's a shared pick for both of these junglers right now. So I think good takeaway for Purple Caster, as they're just trying to ensure that they get the best jungle matchup possible for themselves. Maybe put Axel on HoneyBEE Esports a little further down on his tier list. You've still got someone like the Rek'Sai or the Lee Sin to rely on, so we'll have to wait and see. On the other hand, though, it is HoneyBEE Esports going for the conventional this time around, and they are going to secure themselves the wonder that is Ornn. Once again, can be flexed into the top or the mid lane. Great takeaway, because we've seen a lot of play coming out from Tachibana, the top laner for the side of Purple Caster minion. Also, there has been that, gentle nudge from Riot Games, making sure that tanks are getting a bit of love with those Sunfire changes, of course.
Yeah, absolutely here for us. And, well, Misfortune is going to be now making its way in towards the draft here as well. And this is the champion that, again, coming in through Season 10, not seen so much into competitive play here over the last couple seasons, but being worthy for us in towards the draft at the moment. The set coming out, like I mentioned before the draft that even started, the champion being able to be flexed around quite a bit. We've seen it played in towards both solo lanes, the jungle, the Olaf already coming through, so we would presume it would likely be going here maybe towards the top side here for us, but following the set will be the Senna here for the side of Purple Caster minions.
Like the Senna, it's actually still a flex that you can put into either the AD carry position or the support position. We saw Cloud9, I believe, day 2 of this week of LCS. They actually ran it in the AD carry position. They were running it with Sven, but they didn't actually give him any CS for the first couple of waves, just really prioritizing those souls more than anything. And that is going to mean Senna scaling is going to be much higher. Depends on what support you put alongside Senna, because you're probably going to want a high economy support. Someone does well with items to ensure that you're getting the max value there in that bot lane. But the set, I mean, no surprise, absolutely there. Purple Caster minions, they certainly have been playing what is ordinary in the meta right now, and set is pretty much there to stay.
Yeah, set up there, of course. And well, lots of engage has been drafted thus far here for us for HoneyBEE Esports. They grabbed themselves the Jarvan right before the Phase 2 bans here to come down. So now having the Ornn and Jarvan, lots of opportunities and ways that they can look to set up fights here on towards the map. And well, looking in towards Phase 2, so far the pinch coming out on towards the support role here from the side of HoneyBEE Esports. The Nautilus and Thresh going to be taken away.
It's just removing some of those aggressive supports that you wouldn't like to have that might make it a kill lane there in the bot lane for the side of Purple Caster minions. As you can see, though, Purple more focusing that mid lane. Once again, Baboom is such a standout player and such an iconic person for the side of HoneyBEE Esports that probably going to want to pressure him as much as possible. You can already see a pretty good avenue for getting a good mid jungle duo going for the side of Purple Caster minions, then starting to take control of the game from there. Olaf has tons of priority in the very early game. His skirmishing is fantastic, so we'll have to wait and see what that last ban is. Let me see if I
believe it was Cassiopeia, I believe, is what had came through there for us. So the Cassiopeia is going to follow up the Echo ban. So like you said, pinching again in towards the mid lane, but that's not going to stop HoneyBEE Esports. They're going to grab themselves the Syndra, this champion known so well for just absolutely bursting champions. And if the Olaf is looking to Ragnarok in, he loses those resistances, going to get absolutely shredded here from that unleashed power along with the Senna. So already a lot of champions that Syndra at least has some targets to actually look to burst down here. So I like the adjustment. And again, the flex, it looks like they're going to save their last pick here going on towards the support, unless it is an Ornn support that we have seen occasionally, but it's obviously not as traditional right now in towards the meta currently for us.
Right. I personally still love putting gold into Ornn. I think he just makes wonders, and you do want him to get some of that solo lane EXP to get closer to some of those levels where he can start upgrading the items. Now, Purple Caster minions, they have grabbed themselves the Zoe and the Braum, just two solid picks. We usually see the Braum into either the Ornn or the Misfortune. This time around, going to be a great counter for both. If you are able to use the Unbreakable Shield with the Call of the Forge God ultimate, you just completely absorb that engage. That, or you could just absorb the bullet time coming out from Misfortune. They're both fantastic tools, and Zoe has been seeing a lot of play recently.
Yeah, absolutely has been. And well, she's so good at doing so many things, finding solo kills, setting up your team with the sleepy trouble bubbles, playing around the epic objectives as well. Makes it very difficult for your team to kind of walk on in without having that tanky front line there for you, either like the Ornn, like the Jarvan. So very nice pick up here for the side of Purple Caster Minions, at least in towards the very couple last picks. Braum also going to be able to stop this Ornn ultimate from coming in as long as he is using that shield correctly, like you had mentioned here. So very nice pick up. And then the last pick, of course, the Yuumi. We've seen it occasionally here, mostly paired with the Ezreal. That is kind of sparked in popularity a bit here with the Lethal Temple rune kind of coming in for us, at least within this patch here, has kind of risen within popularity. So going to be able to at least jump on top of this MF, keep her very healthy, and just constantly send out those poking projectiles here, constantly just try and keep everybody at bay. But this is both of our compositions here. And well, we talked about a couple of highlight players here for us, which going in towards the drafts, and there is a lot of champions that are able to get work done here. And now we'll just see who's going to have the better game plan coming in towards our game number 1.
For sure, for sure. And I really like the pick and ban that actually came out recently because, first of all, for HoneyBEE Esports, I think they showcased a lot of versatility. They actually took away a lot of crucial picks that you could have seen the side of Purple Caster Minion going for. We're talking about the Ornn, Syndra, the most played mid lane champion for Decker there on that mid lane. Even the Yuumi, something that we wouldn't typically think of when we see HoneyBEE Esports on paper, but just showing that they have their finger on the pulse. They're adapting to the meta, and this is why they're performing well as well. This is why they're keeping up in terms of the standings for the most part.
Yeah, absolutely here. This is what they're going to be trying to do. And just kind of coming back, if you're just tuning in, well, we're going to be streaming, of course, the Ocean Division coming in here for us. Purple Caster Minions 1 and 2 at the moment. HoneyBEE Sports 2 and 1. We've already mentioned a lot of teams currently in the middle of the pack. And now we're looking to see who's really going to separate themselves and solidify themselves in towards those top 4 spots, because it's only top 4 from each division. 4 divisions, of course, here for us for the Upsurge Contenders League. So obviously very important to really start finding them now, as we are in week 4 and there's very minimal time for air and mistakes to come through, and you really want to be able to just grab yourself these wins so that you can just have that extra relief heading in towards your future matches of knowing at least we have a couple wins under our belts here, and just kind of have that comfort of knowing just in case you do slip up and lose one, then you obviously have that to fall back on. Now there is a lot of teams that we have to kind of mention that have obviously been dominating the group here at the moment here for us, at least for the Ocean Division specifically. Big one, First Blood, 3-0, and then Bethany Esports also flawless here. Both of these teams have been making pretty slight work of the majority of the teams they've played up against here thus far in towards the season, and then getting the opportunity to still run through the rest of them. So we've seen great play from them. We have seen HoneyBEE Sports. We know what they're capable of doing, and like you said, Purple Caster Minions have lots of experience behind the scenes here playing within the ULOL scene themselves. So lots of experience. Now it's just coming down to, again, the game plan, the execution, and who's really going to be able to kind of set things off for us here in this very first game.
Absolutely. And speaking more on Purple Caster Minions, I mean, it's just a lot of depth of experience as well. Not just that this roster in particular, lots of experience, but this is actually supposed to be a 10-man roster. And you would presume that they have a varsity team above that. So really just good infrastructure around them, and pretty much in the entirety of the group as well. There's still some big names here. You talk about some of the people leading the standings, but I'm still looking at the middle of the pack, and you see a recon team in there as well. Like still some big name orgs that have been known to produce great results. That's going to be competition for both of these teams. And I think if you're looking from the perspective of Purple Caster Minions, you're probably going to want to get rolling just about now, right? You were mentioning about having that leg room to work with once you get closer to the end of the season, once you get closer to those playoffs, just having some of that comfort in knowing, okay, we're probably going to be able to clinch a spot in here. Let's focus on development more than just producing the win at the end of the day. Well, both these teams certainly do want to be in that position, and I'm glad they've given themselves the pick and bans to be able to get those results, hopefully, because they both give themselves a lot of tools here. You look at the pick potential coming in for the side of Purple Caster Minions. They've got picks like the Zoe, like the Olaf, some of the 2 most active mid-jungle duos that you can imagine here in this early game, in this current meta. Still got the set Braum to be able to roam around and hopefully absorb a lot of that pressure. And of course, Set in the top lane, who's always going to be a pressure point.
always has been a pressure point here. The champion rising so much. It's so strong. One of the strongest in the game, able to upgrade all of those items. And once he hits that, I believe it's level 13 or level 12. And he's able to, of course, start giving you all that extra advantages that you want to be able to have as they have drafted themselves. A lot of late game scalers that can get to themselves to a point to really take off and pop off your forwards. Where obviously we're looking at the side of Purple Caster. I mean, he's looking to get a lot of work done here into the early game. Olaf does not want to take his foot off the gas, wants to continue to apply the pressure, wants to maybe even try to find a little bit of control around Jarvan, make sure he's not able to find a lot of these engagements, especially when he's level 6 with the Cataclysm on top of these members. Because you do look at these members, Zoe, Senna, and these champions are so hard to lock down.
Yeah, completely agree. And this is why some of the burst coming in for HoneyBEE Sports is very much appreciated. You look at them in jungle, and that's pretty much as explosive as it gets. I love the upfront damage of Jarvan. Syndra as well, just really showcasing how much damage someone can pump out post level 6. So that's going to be quite the hazard, and you might see the side of Purple Caster minions sort of walking on eggshells and making sure they don't get caught off guard. But even then, if you do give a bit too much vision over to the side of a Purple Caster minion, you could end up getting engaged on. They have fantastic engage, Call of the Forge God, Final Chapter. It's all there. It's all possible. It's just waiting to see which team will have the better early game coming into this.
That's right. And of course, before we throw it away to a break here, ladies and gentlemen, we do have to give a shout out to one of our big sponsors here at Upsurge, Kono Esports himself. If you are looking to take your game to the next level, it all starts with your peripherals, from keyboards to keycaps, mice, and more. Our friends at Kono have got you guys covered. Kono works with the world's best designers, inventors, and makers to bring you some of the best gaming peripherals around. Kono has been a huge supporter of us here at Upsurge and have made very generous contributions to our prize pool. If you need to find a new keyboard, if you need to find anything along the lines of a mouse, anything like that, make sure you guys are heading over towards Kono. Again, that is going to be KONO.store. And you can also use code UpsurgeGG for 7% off of your first order. So that is massive, guys. Huge supporter there. Thank you so much, Kono. Head over there if you need anything for your peripherals right now. But ladies and gentlemen, we got a match in our hands. HoneyBEE Sports up against Purple Caster Minis. We're going to throw it to a short break so we can get ourselves in towards our very first game. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back after this. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Here we are, game number 1 for the Upsurge Contenders League. HoneyBEE Esports up against Purple Caster Minions. Both of these teams currently in the middle of the pack here for our Ocean Division, looking to solidify themselves a very big win here in week number 4, so they can slowly start to separate themselves from all these other teams that are currently stuck in this middle pack, and see if they can start clinching and working towards that playoff spot.
That's right. It's the clump that they're in right now, but hopefully, as you get towards the end of the season, you start separating, you start proving as a team that you deserve to be in the top 4, clinching that playoff seed. Either way, into this first game, just a bit of vision exchanged around the top side of the river here. You can see no deep wards necessarily going down. There was that one for the side of Purple Caster Minion right above Jupes the Kid on the Ornn, and that's might help. If you think about the routing between the red and the Raptor pit, could possibly catch the side of Axel going towards that top lane, but then again, could also not help at all. Just getting whatever you can down for the side of Purple Caster Minion. As you can see as well, both junglers going to be starting opposite sides, so possibly might not see them clashing over the Scuttle Crab, and I'm pretty sure Axel in particular going to be appreciating that one.
I will appreciate that. Both junglers, of course, opposite sides here for us. Does give them room to start creating plays on their own and start looking for a little bit of an advantage here. Or Axel could just look for those level 2 cheeky ganks we tend to see from time to time. But wards are dropping down. They have realized that Ornn has leashed up here towards the top lane, so they should be able to spot out where Axel is and what he's doing in the early stages.
And there's the value of that ward going through. Could see the leash, knows exactly where Axel is going to be starting, and we'll see what Pasho decides to do with all that information. Regarding this bot lane, I actually don't see Misfortune Yuumi too much, but I think they sync up quite well, both implementing a lot of that poke harassment style into the bottom lane, as you can see already getting down underway. That being said, though, I think Senna Braum is definitely durable enough to be able to withstand that damage. There's a beautiful bubble.
Yeah, but Boom, he's feeling the pressure here. This could be just an all-in completely. Flash forced out. Will he go in? There is the Paddle Star showing us a little bit of what he can do on this Zoe, and he's going to find himself at first blood.
And sort of out of nowhere as well, you can see Baboom positioning very confidently, gets tagged by a bubble, and that's a heaping helping of damage. Expended the flash, but nowhere near enough distance to get out alive, and that is the first blood. Like you said, over to the Zoe. Not quite a pick I would love to see given an advantage over if I'm the side of HoneyBEE Esports. But Pasho here trying to get another good result. There's the flash as well.
Yeah, he gets some run, chunks out Jupes the Kid here on this Ornn, who was fairly extended in towards that lane. So that's going to give at least the Sentinel a big advantage. Some plays. We're going to see Danny down into the bot lane right now, just trying to heal and keep themselves lane shutting.
Agreed. Just trying to keep as much pressure as possible. You can see Axel securing that scuttle, and now he's going for a bit of an invade. That's a 180 on the shield. Not going to mean too much, though, as once again, durable bot lane. The sustain of the Senna definitely going to be coming in clutch here in this bot lane to make sure they're not falling too far behind the CS. And they aren't. Dead even here, 3.5 minutes in.
Dead even here for us. MF doing so much work, just trying to pressure off the Senna in the early stages. Able to get this health bar and mana down a little bit here at the time being, and this is just all about the pressure. We do see Axel pathing down. Could look for a play as they look to just slow push this in the best they possibly can at the moment. But overall, this is definitely an ideal start here, at least for the side of Purple Caster Minions. They can play around the Zoe. They have this as a very big playing point. The Syndra are going to be having to play a lot safer. Does have the cleanse at least still available, but of course no flashes here for either one of these mid laners. Could call for even more jungle support, even more ganks to end up coming down here for us in the early game.
Definitely seeing a bit of a difference in pressure right now. Axel is sort of relegated here to securing the bottom lane scuttle. Went for a bit of a steal, and I believe that is most of the Raptors taken away. Yep, that's just Pasho taking that one little Raptor left for himself, and now both junglers swapping over. You could see Pasho definitely cheating over to the top side. Wanted to give Tachibana on the set a good start, but has yet to really accumulate. Just one flash taken off the Ornn, and Ornn, not quite easy to shove out a lane. One of his many values, and certainly one of the reasons why you pick him right now. Another bubble going to be landing in the mid lane.
Oh, Baboom is feeling it right now. The direction camera doesn't show us what exactly went down, but he is already chunked out very low. Might have to go for a reset. Could end up losing even more CS. The pressure, the presence Zoe is putting on right now. Decker doing so much in the early stages of the game. It's what you love to see at the moment here. This just nets the Olaf so much pressure, all the pressure he needs to be effective in the early stages. And now they're going to make this swift rotation right over towards this dragon. And this very likely could just be a very early Cloud Drake going over towards the side of Purple Caster minions.
Extremely quick play on this one. Actually, he's going to spot it out, but doesn't feel like he has the support to work with. That's almost certainly going to be the dragon given over in 5 minutes, 50 seconds. A very quick Cloud Drake. There we go. Taken over for the side of Purple Caster minions. It's really weird to me, actually, because Danny Q-Body and Crystal Lens on the Yuumi MF were holding pressure most of the bottom lane. So for the side of Purple Caster minions to actually just get that dragon no contest at all, it just speaks to the amount of pressure that you're getting out of Pasho, the amount of control you're getting out as well. And I'm sure certainly Baboom there on the Syndra in the mid lane was not feeling comfortable responding to that as well.
And not feeling comfortable for us. And able to grab this, like you said, with what we're seeing right now on our screen. This is what it's been the entire laning phase here, with the Yuumi poking things down, keeping everybody fairly healthy. CS lead about even here, only about 5 differential, as we'll probably see Danny go for a reset, get himself that BF sword, and get back towards the lane. Only 1 kill dropping down. We've seen a little bit of presence so far here from Pasho, as he's been able to grab the dragon, just trying to drop some of these wards, fight for these crabs. Axel, on the other hand, just looking like he's power farming maybe to get that Cataclysm so he can be effective. And there is lots of members that he can look to lock down. Like I was saying in the draft, the Zoe, the Senna, both of these champions having to pretty much flash out of that unless Decker's able to, use a quick ultimate to try and wait and buy time for his jungle here. So lots of opportunities for Axel. We'll just have to see what he has planned here for us while we are still in the early stages.
Certainly. Very hard to fully realize in plays, but Zoe can be preyed upon for a bit of her immobility. Even her ultimate, while it does make her quite slippery, she ends up going back to the same position she started. Cataclysm will not help, or Cataclysm is going to sort of force out that mistake from happening. You're going to need to expend a flash if you truly want to get away from Jarvan. That being said, though, it's probably the reason why you're seeing the entirety of HoneyBEE Esports playing a little bit passively. I mean, they gave over already 1 kill to Decker. You can see he itemized towards the Dark Seal. He's certainly trying to snowball the game. And you can bet that the side of HoneyBEE Esports just showing respect until they hit that level 6 mark that we talked about.
Oh, that's that cooldown for the leap there from the Yuumi, as Decker again goes aggressive. It's going to take Scatter of the Weak right to the face, but he's just putting so much presence on towards Baboon. Looks like he's going to be able to grab himself the blue buff and at least match up against that, so he can keep this mana bar healthy here for him, but he's obviously just been struggling thus far. Now top lane, we do see Olaf start up this Rift Herald, as he does have the set, giving him a little bit of priority. He has the Zoe, who's giving him all the priority he possibly needs against the Syndra here, so this might just be another free neutral objective here going over towards the Purple Casters.
Could absolutely be, and this is perfectly well-timed. Hang on, that's a bubble, and the cleanse comes out as well, but Decker is getting the better of that trade yet again. Expensive summoners, trying to look for the pick, but it's just even more pressure onto Baboom. Rift Herald secured, and I was gonna say, beautifully well-timed with the blue buff handoff. You just saw Pasho go for the Rift Herald. Once again, another objective taken without a contest. And as a whole, you can feel the pressure starting to build up onto HoneyBEE Esports.
Yeah, can you ever here? And well, we did just see Decker use both the summers, like you mentioned there. Maybe he had forgotten the cleanse was available for Baboon, so that is a little bit of a misplay just on his part, and no opportunity for Axel maybe to get something done. But Olaf is with him. They're going to drop this Rift Herald immediately in the mid lane, and they're looking to collect some plating.
Baboom forced back. Now you can see Danny Q-Body and Crystal Lens starting to rotate, but the damage has been done for the most part. There's the flag and drag into the Cataclysm.
Oh, here comes the final chapter. It's down, no flash to follow it up, but the bullet time is in. Goodbye, 1. Able to find Pacho. Decker able to make it out, walks it out barely with a little bit of health left in towards his bar, but nice response comes through with that Rift Herald play in the mid lane here for the side of HoneyBEE Esports.
Yeah, signs of life coming out finally from the side of HoneyBEE Esports. They've been playing passively for the most part, just focusing on laning phase, but that is finally the good pick that they've secured, albeit in exchange for some of that mid gold given over from the tower plates that is going to make Decker and his jungler Pasho even stronger, you still have to watch your step quite a bit as we get more forward into this game.
That's right. And well, gold lead fairly even, only 500 gold separating us two here at the moment. Purple Caster Minions purely hanging on its stats to that first blood that went through there for the Zoe. CS leads pretty much even right across the board. Only big one is again in towards that mid lane here. Decker getting a lot of work done. Has to maybe play a little bit passive and safe. Well, he does have this flash on cooldown as well as his heal, but because of this, you can see Pacho's immediately always playing around his lane. He's like, I will keep you safe. You are gaining me everything I need to take these neutral objectives on towards the map. I will make sure you do not fall down, sir.
Honestly, it's been quite a consistent performance thus far coming out from the side of Purple Caster Minions. This is finally the first ounce of contestation that we've been seeing coming out. Axel is finally sticking up for his mid laner, as Baboom has generally been just hugging his tower this entire mid lane phase, and for good reason as well. Doesn't want to get caught by any more trouble bubbles. There's a play happening. Nice stuns. That's a double.
That's right. Out of the weak finds two. Top lane, all in coming out. Will he be able to find the all in? The showstoppers use, and now Jupes the Kid has to flash away. Is he gonna be able to make this one out? W damage just finds him, but will not find the kill. So that's just going to be the trade of the ultimates, a trade of the flashes.
I give style points for that, Juke. It keeps going on. There's Jupes going back in.
Oh, but Axel's here. Easy response, baiting him around the pink ward, and that will be Axel getting himself on the board here with a kill.
Well, showing up in the top lane, they do get themselves a reward, but that is once again going to give over another dragon to the side of Purple Caster Minions. And while you do appreciate the gold instantly into the pocket of the Jarvan, it is going to become a worry as those dragons start stacking up. The next dragons from here on out are all going to be Infernals. So probably not the one you're going to want to give up now. I think Esports, they should be pressing a lot more attention towards this bottom side of the river so that they don't give up any more without any reason.
I don't want to give too many over for free, like you said, all being Infernals now. Infernal Soul Dragon, so effective, so damn strong. And we see teams go for the all-in so many times when playing around these Infernals here now, as Baboom takes a paddle star right to the face. Might just go for a reset. This mid tower, though, is getting very, very low. The plating has not even expired yet, so there's an opportunity to find yourself the first blood tower and the plating here due to that Rift Herald play that broke that open there just a little bit earlier on. So far, so good. Lots of opportunities, but we have seen the goalies slowly shift back over here towards HoneyBEE Sports as they are now in control by 500 here at 13 minutes.
It's been a great laning phase overall. You're finally seeing that advantage accumulate there in the bot lane. It certainly is a set back into even because of that slight deficit in the mid lane. You're still missing out on a kill and around 14 CS, but overall, appreciate the fact that HoneyBEE Sports are sticking into this laning phase. Let's talk about scaling for a second, because it certainly is an interesting question. If I didn't see top laners, I would just much more appreciate the side of Purple Caster Minion. But when you put that Ornn into calculation, when you add up some of those upgraded items, it certainly is a worry I would see for the side of Purple Caster Minions.
It is a worry, and well, not a whole lot to be taken except for the Rift Trail that will be coming up in 50 seconds. That is an opportunity. That is a pressure point here. Mid lane priority going to be very important for that. Scout of the week, of course, they're landing. Nothing else going to follow that up. Decker trying to keep this player at bay here as the reset's coming out. Ward is dropped down, giving them the extra information they need. Another blue buff also picked down for Decker so we can be as effective as possible. And well, this is just a very nice coordinated game here for Switch. You know, as much as we love to see these constant skirmishes, these constant battles and fights, this one showing us that there's a lot of coordination in what they're trying to do. There's a lot of trading of objectives. You know, the jungle goes top to make a play, finds a kill. They immediately look to make a play in towards the bot lane, and then vice versa. When that happens in towards the bot side, they make a play in towards the top lane. So very nice coordinated play here from both of these teams. And you just gotta wonder what objective is things going to break out here for us, and what team fight is really going to amount. Is it going to be this Rift Trail that is now spawned? It is now up, available, or will it be, you know, these Infernals that are starting to stack up here for the side of Purple Caster Minions? So there's a lot of questions to be asked, but at the moment, just playing safe, coordinated, and finally, we're going to see both junglers on the same side of the map here around an objective here to make sure it does not get taken away for free.
I'm sure Axel not wanting to give up any more of those objectives. I think you hit the nail on the head, and that might just give a little bit of an idea of the weight of this game for both of these teams. Like we said, they're in the middle of the pack. They want to have a good positive trajectory, assuming they want to clinch their way into those playoffs. So clearly not wanting to drop any advantages. It's been more trading than anything. You see a jungler in the top side, you take an objective in the bot side. This is finally the side of Purple Caster Minion. Once again, going objective focused here, as the Rift Herald is going to be started, and Axel not on the right side for this one.
No, he is not, but they are looking to maybe even grab themselves the tower. If you do trade the Rift Heralds for a tower, I mean, that is, certainly worth it. It's the first tower gold. You're usually only going to break open one tower with Rift Heralds unless you've won a team fight here. So this is actually a really nice takeaway. A nice read from Axel, realizing they might not be able to contest it. And now all three of these members are going to share some gold.
Yeah, just great prediction overall. And that is a fantastic trade for yourself. It's very hard, actually, to get more than one tower on a Rift Herald push. Albeit this is the second Rift Herald, so I believe has a bit more oomph to it. But to have the mana advantage, or to have the advantage in tempo, to be able to get more than one tower is quite difficult. So we'll have to see whether or not Purple Caster Minion are able to finesse that one for themselves. But I mean, it's the same thing that we've been seeing thus far. HoneyBEE Sports, they much rather want that gold straight up into their pocket, just up front, as opposed to putting some investment towards the dragons. But this could finally be the first dragon that they put a lot of emphasis towards.
Yeah, very likely can be. Axel finds himself back into the bot lane. This could be just a flash forced out. Danny does have his ultimate available, and that was a flash that did come through there for Mashwan, as he has to expend that to keep himself alive. Did not know how many members were following. Bubble thrown out. Looks like it did hit its mark there onto Syndra. Cleanse available. Not going to be popped. Does take a lot of damage. Might have to flash away now, but she does. Final chapter trying to stop this engage from going further as the Dynamic Shadow drops down. The bullet time used. Kenny finds one. Patcho does take down Baboom. That's the Syndra down. Going for more, but he's been exhausted, so unable to do so much damage. Axel now caught in the mix of it. Goes back in there with the flank and drag, but Dector takes his second of the game as we got ourselves a 2-4-1 right now in favor of Purple Caster Minions. The fight's still not done as Jupsa wants to lead the charge with another re-engage here. Has the cat on top of him. Will keep him healthy. But finally, both teams look to back away. As I say that, bubble lands. Cat is going to go sleepy, but it's on top of an opponent, so he's not going to be able to do anything. As here comes the set, looking for the flash play, trying to find a kill. There is Senna finding the shutdown on towards MF. Jupsa also going to end up falling down as this fight goes horribly wrong for HoneyBEE Sports.
That is the finishing touch, as Purple Caster Minion with a clear 5 for 3, I believe. 5 for 2, maybe even. As you can see, definitely some final kills secured for Jupsa, but not quite enough to really take the cake on that fight. You were relying on things like the Yuumi healing, like Danny Q body from afar, but it really all started to fall apart. And that's what you get when you have such a great player like Decker on the Zoe pick. It was trouble bubble after trouble bubble, completely disconnecting the front line from the back line and overall securing that victory for Purple Caster Minion.
Securing the victory, taking the gold lead just to about even here for us. Now giving them a slight advantage. Rift Herald will charge up, take down the tower. So that's going to even up the towers now and extend the gold lead just a little bit further for the side of the Purple Caster Minions if they found themselves a little bit of something after that fight. And well, so far, so good. And this is just now 3 dragons. Also, that was a massive fight for that simple reason. We already talked about how much emphasis and how important it was going to be. I might have to hold that thought, but how important it was going to be to take away this first Infernal Dragon that was going to be coming up. They don't do so. So now they're going to have to definitely fight here for the next one.
Absolutely. It's such a rough position to be in as well for HoneyBEE Sports. You're one pick away from just having to give up the dragon. You're one pick away from having to go for a 50-50 instead. And, well, picks have mostly been the style of play this time around. Coming in for Purple Caster, that's a bit of a pick.
Yeah, this should just be the ultimate, maybe not even needed. The scatter of the week just absolutely shreds that health bar there from Decker. And, well, another kill coming down as they're going to find the shutdown onto Decker.
Axel getting the credit for that one and going to be picking up the gold bounty as well. Would have loved to see it on Baboom, but that's still a great result that you have no qualms about. As a whole, you're still seeing positive gold right now in favor of HoneyBEE Esports. They're staying on par in terms of CS, in terms of kills. It's just the team fights where, once again, you're seeing the impact of Decker really start to take a toll on that connection. Yeah, that's Jupsa actually taking a great trade on that one. We haven't really felt much of him because most team fights he's been kited out, but I believe once he starts scaling up, once the Yuumi starts scaling up, they will be a massive thorn in the side of Purple Caster minions.
Yeah, they just need some time. Oh, always forget that he can make that jump happen. However, Danny might actually be in some trouble here. Final chapter thrown out, but it's mainly blocked there from the Braum shield, and they've already taken down Danny. As we see Jupsa in the mix of it all, this does not look great. Unable to get the second knock up there with the call of the Forge God, and now he's just on the run, but kill secured here from the AD carries. They're going to find themselves 2 picks in the mid lane.
And it's Oshawott this time around. Lands the snare onto Crystal Lens. Krista hops onto the AD carry. I wouldn't call that the best support play I've ever seen. Yet another trouble bubble. It's going to be Crystal Lens going out, but once again, mana advantage. The Yuumi down very low, and this is the Baron going to get started. 21.5 minutes in, still very early, but the confidence coming through for the side of Purple Caster.
Coming through here for us, and will they be able to get themselves on towards the pit? Axel is here for a potential smite steal. They're going to peel off of it.
Yep.
As this is definitely the right call. They only really have the Orin down. They were taking a 50-50. The smite level is the exact same here, so they're not going to bite off more than they can chew, and they're just going to save this fight for another time.
A much better choice, in my opinion. With the gold so close to even, you give a big chunk over to HoneyBEE Esports, and you're having second thoughts about some of these team fights, especially when we talk about, once again, the scaling coming in for the Orin pick. Jupsa, he will start to become a menace eventually. You can see him going towards either the Iceborne Gauntlet or the Frozen Heart, depending on whichever one he finishes. But I'd love to see the Iceborne Gauntlet, just because he seems to be this frontline bruiser, as it turns out, alongside Crystal Lens on the Yuumi, sort of empowering him and enchanting him with buffs. He is going to become a nuisance eventually. It's just a matter of if the side of HoneyBEE Esports can survive long enough and keep on par with this gold.
Yeah, 55 seconds coming up on this dragon right now, and we're going to have to see what the side of HoneyBEE Esports have prepared for us, because they need to grab themselves this. They give over a very early Infernal Soul Dragon here before we're even at 25 minutes, and well, this is just going to cause a lot of headaches for them as this game progresses. But at the moment, they have been the first ones to the pit. They have set up some of this vision here and are in position to take the fight. Now we'll have to see what the response is going to be here from the Purple Caster minions, as they now find themselves as almost 5 strong. But the Scatter of the Week is in, looking for the pick. The Braum soaking up a lot of this damage. Responds with the Glacial Fissure, knock up on towards 2. Ragnarok into the back line here, but that will be the ultimate thrown out from Syndra, taking down 1. That will be the showstopper as well, coming through from the set, unable to find the damage. It's with a massive knock up here from the Jarvan. Triple kill going to be secured. Danny Q-Boy goes big with the bullet time, and this will be a dragon going over towards the side of HoneyBEE Esports.
HoneyBEE Esports backs against the wall, and they come out with the answer. It's a 3-man bullet time midway through that fight, but the start of it as well, not looking as reassuring as I thought. They engaged onto a Braum with Gargoyle's Stoneplate. Braum obviously soaking up a lot of that damage, but you're really seeing the potency of getting your Ornn into the middle of the field, getting Axel some of these big knockups, and of course the Yuumi sustaining it all. Those heals were crucial, and this is going to be the second Baron attempt, this time for HoneyBEE Esports. And no response in sight as well.
Oh, this is what we were afraid of. Switch, one team fight, breaking the game wide open. There it goes. Baron secured. They grabbed themselves their very first Infernal Dragon of this game number 1. And well, they're also sitting on a pretty decent gold lead coming out of that fight here now for us. So about 4,500 here roughly. Baron on line. Now we're looking at the lane assignments, looking to see what HoneyBEE Esports is looking to attack first.
And I really just got to go back and talk about how great of a move that was for HoneyBEE Esports. First crucial thing, they engaged on a Purple Caster minion team that was not fully prepared. You could see Decker not quite at the beginning of that team fight having a big impact. That's been the win condition for the side of Purple Caster minions. But you had the engage from HoneyBEE Esports. You had, once again, the Yuumi heals to save a lot of that, to absorb a lot of that initial burst going on to Danny Cute Body. And of course, the beautiful flag and drag into the bullet time. It really all came together. And now, with all this gold, you can finally start pushing in. You can finally feel more confident about controlling this map, and it gets you so much closer to getting the solution to all this pick potential right now. The QSS for both the Syndra and the Misfortune are going to be crucial. There's Jupsa making a pick, and it's going to be followed up as well.
Showstopper does try and get him a little bit closer to his teammates, but it does not matter. They have the damage. Ornn picks it up, the kill, and collects his second as they have the Baron live. They're 5 members strong in the bot lane, and they're looking for some more towers.
HoneyBEE Sports, they bided their time, and now it's finally all paying off. They kept themselves in a good position to take back this game. And right now, they are controlling it. There's another snare going down. Glacial Fissure only knocks up the front line, though.
Oh, that's Axel going all in there. The bullet time on top of that. Last chapter, as they're looking to go all in for a kill. Jupes the Kid takes down 2 of the Ornn. Cleaning up Hell's very tanky. Is kind of left all isolated and alone, so this could be a trade, but he flashes back. He is safe, and he is out. And now we're going to see HoneyBEE Sports break open the base, and there's only 2 members trying to defend, but they are not going to be able to save this inhibitor.
Yeah, beautiful unbreakable shield from Oxygen, but really just stalling the inevitable. That team fight, massive for HoneyBEE Sports, cracks open the base in the bot lane. And as a whole, what a successful push coming out from them. They use their Baron very wisely. As a whole, this game just going to be a lot more smooth, a lot more uphill now for the side of HoneyBEE Sports. Now we're really just waiting for the side of Purple Caster Minions to come out with the solutions.
Yeah, the solution, and there is still falling back on this Infernal Soul that can be collected. Pasho does have his flash coming up here fairly soon, and can look to go for some kind of a steal. Maybe that might be their window back in towards the game and give them all of that extra burn damage there on the abilities and auto attacks. But it's definitely looking grim. The scaling is certainly starting to hit, and it's hitting like a brick wall. We can see now 3 items secured here for Danny. We look in towards the mid lane. Baboom also having himself 2.5, both of them having some upgraded items for themselves here from the Ornn, and this is just where things get so devastating because they have this extra punch. And Braum is now caught out again. Oxygen not in a great spot. Autos are in. Danny gonna collect kill number 6.
Yeah, could have popped the Gargoyle Stone Plate, but once again, it's inevitable. Oxygen, he does end up going down. This push starting to formulate both the mid and the top. As a whole, HoneyBEE Sports, they've done a great job of becoming much more proactive, looking for some of these picks, taking engagements that the side of Purple Caster Minion probably not prepared for. This mid tower, all but over.
That is going to be another inhibitor tower broken open. The damage then. Danny pressing forward here. Axel leads the charge again with the Cataclysm. There's the bullet timeout. Kill number 1 will not go down just yet, as we do see the set going for the all-in engage. Danny flashes away and takes 1 for his troubles. Here comes the re-engage from the Ornn. Does not look like he hits the knock up there, as Braum, I believe, did block that for himself, but they already got the job done. They find themselves another kill here, as well as a second inhibitor.
And yet another successful push. It's great kiting coming out from HoneyBEE Sports and really playing true to their composition. You just don't want anyone to initially get bursted to 0. You just want them to survive. Let the Yuumi heal them back up to full. And really, that's what's been missing from the team fights of Purple Caster Mini. It's been that quick execution. It's been that solid engage to allow them to find some of that burst. We used to be able to rely on Decker, but now that damage slowly falling off, the Yuumi helping to absorb a lot of that. And as a whole, you're going to need more answers than just the mid lane Zoe to be able to take back this game. That was the second Infernal secured for HoneyBEE Sports. Now they move their way on over to the Baron buff to control that one. 1 minute away, and the bot lane inhibitor still down and gone for the side of Purple Caster.
And they just need to set up for the second Baron of the game coming up here. We're closing on that 30-minute mark. We have our second Baron coming up at 40 seconds. And this is just going to be so easy. They have all this pressure from these constant super minions pouring in towards the bot and mid lane. Axel, not going to be able to grab himself the Gromp, but that's okay. He's still very far ahead for us at the moment. Danny going to just shove this wave in all the way, give them the extra priority. They might even look to take this tier 2 down in towards the top lane here and get turret number 8. Trouble bubble thrown out, does not hit its mark. Danny now feels safe enough to walk himself up They're going to have to wait for the next wave before they are going to be able to take this. But while this is happening, Jupsikid is just having his way with his laning opponent here as he's in the base, just shoving this wave all the way in.
The legendary split push Ornn. This is certainly possible because finally all the scaling is coming through for the side of HoneyBEE Sports. 2 upgrade items on the Ornn, and for good reason. He is vanguarding some of these fights. The top lane inhibitor tower being taken. There's the Ragnarok pop. And pop goes in.
There's the Cataclysm in the back line here. Ornn follows it up with a knockup bullet time again as the shield is not used in the right direction here from Oxygen. That's going to cost him a couple of his teammates' life. Now 3 members down for Purple Caster Minions. Looks like Oshawott will be number 4. Does flash away, buys time. Danny Q-Boy under the tower, but has the cat on top of him. As it's going to be a kill here coming out for the set from the tower. Being tanked a little bit too much. Jupsikid still very, very healthy. He will zone both of these members back. Nexus is going to be hit. And well, this is game number 1 locked down and secured here for the HoneyBEE Sports.
And again, bunkering down, sticking to what works for the team comp. HoneyBEE Esports, they come back from a slightly behind early game and they come back strong as well. Everything started to come together around that 25-minute mark, and past there it was just all in favor of HoneyBEE Esports. You stop seeing some of those big plays coming out from Decker. You stop seeing Pasho as well start to rip through that backline. It was really the story of the Yuumi and of Jupsikid as well on the Ornn.
Oh, they got so much work done there. And you look back on that game, you look at the first 15, 20 minutes, and it just seemed like the side of Purple Caster Minions had it in the bag. They were doing a great job playing around the Zoe, just finding all of these opportunities, these picks, all of the objectives as well, Switch. They got both of the Rift Heralds there into the early stage and had 3 dragons and were 1 away from collecting the Infernal Soul. But it just took that one team fight down in towards the bot lane that kind of just blew the game wide open. They denied the Infernal Soul, grabbed themselves their first dragon, and then we just saw HoneyBEE Sports rotate to the Baron while all of those members were still on death timers. And that's when the gold lead was just full on in their favor, and they just took over the game, and there was no chance anymore there for the Purple Caster Minions.
Yeah, I can see why the game turned on a dime like that. You think about that team fight, the 4th dragon for the side of HoneyBEE Sports. It's so dominating of a team fight. That bullet time, phenomenal. And really from there, it's just a massive surge of confidence. They take that, they start controlling the game as a whole. I'm not surprised at all that they end up taking it at the end of the day. So now coming into this next one, first of all, you can see how competitive this series is. And you can also see how one small mistake, a few minor mishaps could lead to giving the game over to the other team right now. So I'm sure Purple Caster Minion, they certainly are thinking about cleaning up their play and hopefully getting themselves a better composition to counter their opponents.
Yeah, they're going to have to try and find something here going in towards map 2, because that match number 1 there for us was very clean past the 20-minute mark there for HoneyBEE Sports as they're looking to grab themselves win number 3 in this Ocean Division. Purple Caster Minions have to force the game number 3 just to find their second win here of the season in week number 4. But ladies and gentlemen, we're getting ready to throw it to a short break so that we can set up our second match of the night here for the Upsurge Contenders League. Make sure you guys do not go anywhere. Do not want to miss game number 2. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, for the Upsurge Contenders League, where we have HoneyBEE Sports currently up 1-0 in our series up against the Purple Caster Minions here. Now, going in towards this game number 2, we're looking for the Purple Caster Minions to maybe shake up the draft a tiny bit here and try and transition a little bit of a better early game in towards the mid to late for us, as HoneyBEE Sports were able to, of course, run away with that once they were able to find one successful team fight there around the Dragon. So, game number 2 here for us, Switch, and, well, they are also going to be switching sides. So this could be an opportunity for them to find a big win here on red side and force that game number 3.
Absolutely right, Visions. If you're Purple Caster Minions, you appreciate the early game that you had, but really the transition was when it started to fall apart and you start to realize, wait, we don't actually have that much engage going for ourselves. Look at the top lane. It was a Set who is very inconsistent in his engages, almost has to purely rely on flank positioning to be able to get a good start in team fights. Olaf as well, he just runs forward. And so you work your way all the way down, and who do I have to rely on now? Possibly Decker on the Zoe, who was delivering in the first half of the game, or maybe even the Braum with the Glacial Fissure, but really never came to fruition there, as the second half of the game strictly in favor of HoneyBEE Sports. It was overall getting a little sketchy because HoneyBEE Sports, they were down 3 dragons, about to give the 4th soul, but they came back into it in the end. Draft now back up, and I think for HoneyBEE Sports, it's an easy solution. Maybe just take away the Zoe and keep the rest of your bans from there. They also go for the adaptation and taking away the Olaf as well, or rather, other side around. Still waiting to see whether or not the Zoe's going to be taken off.
Yeah, it's got a lot of work done there. About at First Blood. First time I think we've really seen Baboom kind of struggle in a 1v1 matchup there for us after all of our experience casting with the man. But like we said, we'll see exactly what will change up for us so far. Leona, Trundle, Kled coming out. You mentioned the Olaf, the Ornn getting a lot of work done in that last game there. And of course, the first pick going over to the side of HoneyBEE Sports. Want to make sure you do not give that pick over for free.
Absolutely. There's the respect Rumble ban once again coming down. The other respect ban being, of course, that Ornn, because Jupsa was performing quite well on that one. Really just went blow for blow with the Set. And speaking of Set, and really just scaled into the game. Did his duty of being that front line that was absorbing a lot of the damage. The Yuumi helped with that quite a bit. But this time around, it certainly is a departure from that style of play. You're working with the Set, and you're hoping to have a very successful early game, because we know how crucial it is sometimes to be able to snowball on that champion and transition that more easily into team fights.
Set picked up as they're looking for the engage, looking for that dominant top lane here. This time don't have to worry about the Ornn, but quick picks coming out here for the side of HoneyBEE Sports. They're going to lock in that Thresh there in towards that support role, and they're going to grab themselves the Syndra, as it was putting in so much work in that last game. So now they're going to try their hand at it and see if they can try and make this pick work.
Absolutely. Similar style, and we gave a lot of credit to Decker for his Zoe performance, so you're hoping he's going to deliver in a similar regard. The Thresh pick, though, is going to be much more proactive for Oxygen, because while we saw a very solid bot lane for the side of Purple Caster Minions, they didn't quite get enough done. They were really just roaming when it needed to be made. Okay, well, the the next pick's coming forward. HoneyBEE Sports with the Echo and the Zac, not quite on the flow chart, but that certainly is a creative one.
Yeah, the Echo in the mid lane, of course, able to find a very nice 1v1 in towards the Syndra here for the mid lane. But like you said, Zac may be a bit unorthodox, but still can make this champion work, especially when there's members like the Syndra here that you're able to jump on with the elastic slingshot from a very long range. Also going to give them another engage tool to kind of follow up this Set that wants to go with the secondary engage for ourselves. But before we jump into phase 2 bans, the Mordekaiser has been picked up, and we would presume that would be, of course, going towards the top lane here for us up against the Set.
Yeah, we've seen this going up against the Set multiple times. They both do similar things. They want to get into melee range and start battering down their opponents. The Mordekaiser, though, he does need to play a bit more of a nuanced style, where he needs to sort of dodge out on a lot of Set's crucial abilities. The Haymaker obviously being the main one. You can use the pull as well to sort of separate a bit of distance and stay in that sweet spot range where you're able to land your Q, you're able to get the burn from your passive, but you're not letting Set free auto attack you.
Yeah, you definitely do not want that to happen whatsoever. And well, bans that do fall through, gonna get rid of that Jarvan that was putting in a lot of work there. The Dr. Mundo as well, and Nautilus and Varus going to fall in towards the last couple here for the side of HoneyBEE Sports. But first pick, gonna go on towards this Misfortune again, taking away some of these picks that were looking so great and so strong there for the side of HoneyBEE Sports here. And they're going to now have themselves set with a much easier composition to try and execute on.
That's right, for sure. The Syndra and the Misfortune that were used by HoneyBEE Sports, they're now in the hands of Purple Caster Minion. As a response, that is going to be the Senna and the Tahm Kench. This is the bot lane that we saw Cloud9 pilot, where they didn't give much of any farm to the Senna, really just had her focusing on collecting souls, gave most of the farm to the Tahm Kench, and you ended up having a really durable Tahm Kench in the mid game. He could go for that Gargoyle Stone Plate, he could go build even more tank after that, and he became a frontliner in his own right, something that you don't typically expect from Tahm Kench until maybe around 30 minutes into the game, but doing quite a bit of work. And as the Sejuani is the final lock-in for the side of Purple Caster, means that is the end of it all. Bring in finally some engage to the table, as Purple Caster means they were probably missing that one game one.
Yeah, they're missing it. And well, overall, they were missing that punch there in towards the mid game. That's, again, I got to keep coming back to that factor because it was very precise and it was very easily executed for the side of HoneyBEE Sports. Once they were able to find themselves just one successful team fight, once they had a big enough sizable goal lead in their favor, they had completely run away with that game. Now this is a chance for the Purple Caster Minions to, again, force this game number 3 and put themselves in a position where they can try and find a win, because we got to keep coming back to the same factor of all of these teams being in the mix and in the middle of the pack, having to find wins. So important, because we are in week number 4 here for us, so pretty much just at this halfway point in the season here for the Upsurge Contenders League, where you just do not have a lot of time to recover from mistakes going forward when you are getting these losses. But they have drafted themselves a little bit of a composition that is just a little bit straightforward for a switch. You know, look to set up plays here with the Thresh, have anti-CC here with the Lantern, pull the Syndra, pull the Misfortune out of harm's way when they're caught out from something like the Zac from the set here. So definitely a lot of different options, but nothing to take away from HoneyBEE Sports. They looked very, very clean. They gave up a lot of the objectives very early on, but they were trading towers, they were trading ganks on towards the map, and they were also being proactive themselves in the early game.
And finally, at that mid game, they really showed up, very much playing towards their own story, where they're a group of friends that have been, you know, going into some of these tournaments, and they've been focused on growth, and they've already been showing a lot of versatility. You can see some of the pick and bans, and once again, they have their finger on the pulse. They're playing some of these modern compositions that you could have seen like literally yesterday coming out, but they're also spicing it up with a bit of their own unique identity. The Zac in particular, not necessarily something that I always see in the LCS, but you would assume that they have experience playing it. Axel in particular, he does have quite a few games on the Zac played, so you're waiting to see them bring out the spice. On the other hand, Purple Caster Minions, like you said, very balanced in the sense that they've got a diverse damage profile. You can rely on the Mordekaiser to get into the middle of team fights, and if you ignore him, he starts to become a problem. Decker on the Syndra, once again, expecting him to deliver in terms of the picks, but also some of that backline carry that we saw hints of in games one. And finally, the Misfortune, just one of the most consistent AD carries that you can always rely on to bring some of that AoE in the team fighting phase. It is much more, once again, spread out in terms of carry potential.
Sure.
And overall, Purple Caster Minions, they finally gave themselves the engage that they needed.
They did. And well, just to touch on your Misfortune point here, Switch, we also have a substitute looks like coming in for us. I do not remember Plastic in that last game, unless I just do not remember correctly whatsoever.
No,
I do believe. Was he here? Was he here for us? Because I feel like this might be. There we go. So Hyper is confirming in the background here for us that he is actually a substitute coming in for us, which means that they're looking to shake things up completely, which is also just a little bit interesting because honestly they did experience themselves a loss. So just having that new player come in, kind of refresh the comms, just kind of refresh everybody with that clear mindset coming in towards this game too, almost like it's a new series type of feeling. That's something we see traditionally a lot for us. But ladies and gentlemen, we're to get ready to throw it to a break, but before we do, you know the drill. We have to give another shout out to one of our sponsors here, one of our supporters here for Upsurge, Sector 6. As actually I'm being told we are not doing that. We're just going to throw the video for you guys. So make sure you guys are checking out Sector 6. We're going to play that on your screen. We're going to throw it to a break.
A vision of quality, a vision of uniformity. We took the time to create something familiar yet refreshing, something with a bit of change.
Designed to fit any brand's unique vision.
There's a fire that burns inside. It's an instinct that never lies. The target's tattooed between our eyes. Stand and fight under the lights on the higher stage. A part of your life they can't take away. Just like the blood running through your veins. Everyone's watching through your eyes. There's only two options, win or die. Win or die. Win or die. It went from a spark to an open flame. Now destiny's calling out your name.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Here we are, game number 2 for the Upsurge Contenders League, week number 4. HoneyBEE Sports up 1-0, currently over top of Purple Caster Minions, but they have adjusted the draft. They've went with something a little bit easier to try and execute on. Now we'll just have to see if they can do exactly that for a switch and get us to a game 3.
Yeah, absolutely. Visions. Once again, this is HoneyBEE Sports at a lead. They're feeling the confidence ever since that dragon fight mid game 1, and they have shown a lot of decisiveness ever since. I just love a lot of their engages. They all seem to be on the same page, and as a whole, they look like a very cohesive unit. Coming into this next game, it certainly is going to take good communication to make their way through the early game. We talked about some of the power allotted to the side of Purple Caster Minions. They've gotten themselves the Syndra, the Misfortune Thresh as well in the bot lane. They're both a bit of a terrifying duo to go up against. So as a whole, once again, I think this is going to be for the Senna Tahm Kench, this is mostly going to be the CS going into the hands of Tahm Kench. You're going to get him durable very early on, and you're going to be focusing mostly on stacking up those souls for Senna. This tends to end up giving Senna really good scaling, but in the early game, you are sacrificing a bit of that value that you could get just from the item stats alone.
Certainly here for us. And well, this time around, both junglers going to be starting on the same side of the map, and both of them not having a whole lot of presence in towards the early stages. The Zac, once he gets a couple of points in towards that elastic slingshot, he then becomes fairly effective. But currently at the moment, not going to have a whole lot done, as we see Danny actually already get chunked down fairly low from this MF threshold. There it is, the Q coming in with the crit, and that will be good by Danny. Will the support fall as well? Has the flash. He's going to flash after. Otto not going to finish him off, as Crystal Lens has to back all the way up.
Coming in out of nowhere. And the new player as well, like you highlighted, Visions, that fresh mind into the roster of Purple Castmans. Well, he comes up with a beautiful play of his own. That double up damage is so deceptively strong in the early game and used quite well. We talked about the Senna Tom Kench just enduring the lane. That's going to get a bit harder as you're now seeing the Doran stack come in for the Misfortune.
Yeah, maybe just overstepping a little bit too much. New player comes in, things looking good. As I said, no one was maybe going to gank early. We're going to see a last slingshot come right out, right into the queue. Parallel Convertus will not land, so that's done. Not going to drop on towards Decker, but he will flash away and keep himself alive.
Yeah, there you go. The first gank coming out for Axel here in the mid lane. No surprise as well. I look at the composition for... Oh, hang on. It's going to be jungle v jungle.
Yeah, Pasho going to spot out Axel, finds the initial stun there with his passive and will back himself away. Fighting over the crab, elastic slingshots, very long cooldown. On top of that, Axel does not have a whole lot of health and is just going to have to concede this crab here over to Pasho. So he's going to be able to at least grab himself that. And it's a little bit of something back in his pocket there after his mid lane just got ganked.
Yeah, Axel certainly not going to want to give up that Cell Division passive very early on. Could even result in a kill. So I appreciate the safe play. Man, the damage being pumped out from this bot lane. Purple Caster minion. They were certainly playing it consistent last game. This time around, they are going all out. Guns blazing, one would say.
Right. I like that kind of approach. Shaking up the style. Maybe just trying to control the tempo for yourself. As last game, it was really a whole lot... Not a lot happening with a lot of trading of objectives, trading of ganks for plays happening on the opposite side of the map. Mid lane, though, it's a very nice stun. Solo kill is going to find itself as Baboon now has to get himself out, make sure he can get himself away. Flash coming out, flashing after him is going to be Basho, and he will finish him off with the very last auto, excuse me, as Baboon does find himself a solo kill, but unable to get out with his life.
You're very close. Getting saved by Axel, but just not quite in time. And that he's going to be the 1-for-1. Yes, still appreciate that, though. Going in favor of Baboon. Didn't get to touch on it earlier, but now seems like a good time. This is a composition where you love to see the Echo get ahead because it all starts to come together after that. Beautiful hook. There's the follow-up as well.
Yeah, he does eat up his 80 carry, so gets him out. Danny now trying to cut this one back out as they go for the re-engagement. Plastic keeping them both at bay, making sure they don't commit for the full-on in. Crystal Lens now. Ignite is on. Oxygen able to grab that. Trade from Danny is there. Axel backing up Danny now as Plastic just desperately wants to find this kill. We're seeing both junglers match and come down, but Sejuani now has to walk herself out as she has already lost both of her bot laners.
Yeah, Pasho, he's late to the party, gets snared as well, and walks off very low from that one. Overall, Danny Q-Body with the plays along with his support. Crystal Lens as well. Got the damage on very early into that 2v2, but it was really Danny Q-Body with the moves to be able to secure that. Gets the kill on the Thresh, the flash away from the Misfortune as well, and as a whole, that's a great swing back in favor for HoneyBEE Esports. Once again, keeping up blow for blow in the early game.
That's right. Very explosive early game here thus far for us in game number 2. A big change up already as we have 6 kills at 6 minutes. Kid keeping his opponent zoned away and maybe wants to use that ultimate. He's going to go in for a very nice trade. Going to land some good autos, pulls him right back in there as well as he is going to completely poke out with the Mordekaiser. Forced to back away. Might even have to call for help as Sejuani is also pathing towards his top lane.
Perhaps a lane gank might come out very soon. But either way, Kid, he's had himself a quiet game for the most part. And this is what we talked about, where he's mostly going to be controlling the wave. You're going to have Tachibana on the Mordekaiser, just trying to kite it out for the most part, stay in that sweet spot. The pull doesn't come through, and that's going to mean a bit of a walkaway perhaps for Pasha. He's toying with the idea. This could be a good turn.
Only level 5 for Pasho.
Oh,
but
I can't tell if
he's waiting.
If he low-key just knows.
You might just know here as he is just kind of bouncing in and out, not overcommitting when he doesn't have to, and just continuously finding good trades. Has himself an ICS lead here, just over a wave up at the moment. Axel grabs his red buff. We're also going to see Pasha now move right in towards his opposing jungler. Blue quadrant here towards the top lane here as he's looking just to try and spot him out, and that should give them some information as yet again these top laners, they're going at it in a full-on kill likely to come through as they're both just about half health at the moment.
Jeeps flexing his muscles here on this one, going for it.
That does best. Will the ultimate come down? He's going to use the shield first. The flash not very useful there from Jupes the Kid, but there is the showstopper. The autos are going to be coming out. He finds the kill, but Pasho this time, he's got the level 6. He will lock down the trade and at least make it a 1v1 here, or 1-4-1 for his top lane.
And securing that parity for Pasho there in the top lane. He does end up showing. We'll have to see if Axel can get himself a good product as well. Looks like it's going to be the Dragon, actually. And once again, this is very much in the same pattern of play that we've seen this series thus far. Game 1, it was a lot of trading of objectives after a trade of information, and no different this time around. The benefit, though, is that early Infernal. You absolutely appreciate that one. Like we said, Baboom, gonna need to get ahead early on, because that really brings your composition together. Your set gets much more confident. Your Senna feels much more comfortable playing that backline carry towards the late game, and your Tom Kench as well can feel free to move up. But the set as well, going to be appreciating the Infernal.
Yeah, Will very much like that as the hook just barely missing the back right foot there of Danny. And he's going to take a trade. Yeah, he is waiting. Elastic Link shot going to be coming and dropping down. Boom. There is summoners available here for the Misfortune. Plastic maybe trying to close the gap. There he goes. That will be the bullet time in response, but unable to stay there as the Dawning Shadow will zone her back and make her have to retreat. But nice gank from Axel as he finds a kill on towards the Thresh.
Yeah, it's just the easy Elastic Slingshot in. Gets most of the knockups down. It was a desperado from Plastic, but not quite close enough to get any semblance of a kill. Once again, it's just Axel showing up for a lot of these crucial plays. He is just as active as Pasho here in the early game, and he's getting the results as well.
5-4 already. Gold lead 600 in favor of the Purple Caster minions as they're trying to, or excuse me, in favor of HoneyBEE Sports as they're on track for doing a great job of being able to continue to find gold leads, and again, all of their members already having themselves a kills. So great start here thus far in towards the game. Infernal Dragon collected. Zach's pinging up towards the top lane here. Very likely could just see a Rift Herald also come down at the moment as he's going to be just finding both of these camps here. Has the set backing him up. Could even look for a gank on towards the top laner as we've already seen the set find himself a successful kill. Not too much is happening towards the mid lane here with the directed camera. Let's see a hook thrown out. Does not hit its target. Baboon is going to be able to absorb all this pressure here pretty freely.
Yeah, that's an ambitious roam. Echo has great wave clear, and you can see the parallel convergence, giving him a lot of space as well. The stun lands, but the push fizzles out as well.
Axel might get stunned up, but he should be
That's
fine.
that timing.
He's going to deny his Elastic Link shot. Blastcone also now going to find him. And as I say, he should be fine. May have cast or cursed him as he's going to lose the passive. Holding on to the flash. Baboom goes in, but quickly right back out. He has the ultimate to go back on if he so wishes, but he is not going to. And, well, Axel going to get caught out there from Pasha with a very nice use of the Blastcone.
Yeah, and unfortunately, that's just a mishap with the fundamentals. You got to hold that Elastic Slingshot until the Flay on cooldown for Thresh. Axel, he learns that lesson the hard way, but as a whole, it's still not the end of the world for HoneyBEE Sports. They're pushing in the bot lane. This might be another 2v2.
Yeah, Tom Cash going to tank that up here. Now it's actually Plastic who's going to get zoned away. Now they can just turn their attention on towards the support, and yeah, Oxygen has to flash over the wall just to make sure he does not give a free kill over.
Remember where most of this gold lies. It's the Tom Kench, and once you let him into melee range, it's so hard to get out. The Thresh having to flash away for that one, and Plastic, like you mentioned, just getting zoned out from Danny. I think the bot lane of HoneyBEE Sports have been playing phenomenally. That's another phenomenal play.
Trading about the same amount of health there for their health bars in the mid lane, but Axel is here, and there is no scatter of the week. He's pulled right back in. Baboom, no, can't finish off the kill as he has to use that ultimate. We do see the Dawning Shadow come out as well there. but it is not going to net them a kill. As the flash, I think, there from Decker was enough to get him safe and sound. Baboom now no longer having the flash, going to drop this parallel converters. Axel right back in, jumps onto Syndra, does not hit his mark, and now he himself is in trouble as he has to use the Let's Bounce. He will survive just with a little bit of health there. And everybody wants to get themselves out. We see one more time he goes back in. It's the Tom Kench even going to ult in, but not going to find anything out of this mid lane play.
Very close to any kill coming down, but not quite, as both teams almost getting the execute. Oxygen, now this might just be one as the snare comes down. Parallel convergence, the stopwatch, but it only delays as that one goes over to Crystal Lens. The Tom Kench just building up the gold.
Yeah, you kind of just give over the stopwatch there for free, essentially, knowing that you might just die. Plastic stuns up, wants to take the 1v1. He's going to use the bullet time here, but Danny able to use the E, walks himself out, and will be able to now have that misfortune bullet time on cooldown here for the next minute and a half.
It's going to be all right, except when you talk about this next dragon coming up. You unfortunately aren't going to have that bullet time to rely on quite yet. That's going to be another couple past when the dragon spawns. So as a whole, it still looks like a lot of pressure being exerted from Purple Caster as they are trying to secure themselves some good vision.
And this dragon looks to be at least going over to the side of Purple Caster minions here, potentially, as they're the first ones towards the objective. They are 4 strong. There's teleports available right now for the Mordekaiser. Cannot be matched here from the side of Jupes the Kid, and well, Dragon already down to about 2k. Zaki is nearby. Will he dare for a steal? They're walking up like they want to now, and now it's going to be a 50-50. It's stolen away, and now 2 dragons over to HoneyBEE Esports. That will be the Glacial Prison thrown out, but it will go right between the uprights, and that Senna has already taken down the Sejuani as she can't lock down the smite. It's the whole side of Purple Caster minions on the run. Flash forced out. Decker with a very nice scout of the week, trying to zone everybody away. Root will land. Crystal Lens walks in with a tongue lash. Geo will get him out safe and sound, but 2 kills fall for the side of the Purple Caster minions, and it will be a dragon stolen away here for HoneyBEE Esports.
Yeah, Axel with the steal, secure on that one. That was beautiful stuff, and the fight past that point, very positive for HoneyBEE Esports as well. It's once again, you're getting that extra member that you're not necessarily used to. The Tom Kench, pretty much a bruiser in his own regard here, 14 minutes in. He's doing great work. It was really also Jupes the Kid being able to cancel that teleport coming in from the Mordekaiser that still kept a lot of momentum in favor for HoneyBEE Esports. They just ran over their competition rather, and as a whole, they get themselves another incremental win. I was going to mention, I really want to mention before that, if you're Purple Caster, you really didn't need to fight that. Like, that was the second dragon. It was a mountain, didn't really matter. Might be in a bit of more trouble, but no, the Abyssal Voyage, not quite in the right spot. Either way, another blow to your gold right now is not necessarily what you want if you're Purple Caster.
Yeah, it most certainly is not whatsoever here, but they at least have a little bit of late game they can rely on here with the MF and Syndra. They have a lot of damage built in towards their kits, so they're still going to be effective as this game goes on. Just have to make sure they're obviously not falling too far behind here, transitioning in towards this mid game here as we are 15 minutes 30 seconds in towards game number 2. Gold lead healthy, but mid lane we have seen a lot of pressure from onto Decker here from Baboom, and he is making sure he is following suit with this, keeping up, and he is still finding these very nice parallel converters for these trades.
Yeah, eyes towards the mid lane. It feels like the tables have turned, where now it's Decker just hugging his tower. May not even be safe there.
He might just go down as we're going to see Baboom come in, finish off the kill. Axel sets up the play, but he is not out whatsoever.
Here's Pasho.
We're going to see Pasho gets hit, knocked back up here from Axel, and now they might be able to walk their way out as Pasho no longer has reinforcements, no one to help him with this damage, and they will get themselves out with a very nice kill onto Decker.
And the gold into Baboom's pocket is the guy you want to unlock, and unlocked he feels. Pasho, once again, in a bit of trouble. Nice movement.
This could just be an eat. No flash, no summoner. A kill given over to Danny as he hits the crit. Very easily done for him. Oxygen walks up to make sure he can protect Pasho, and that immediately is going to cost his AD carry his life.
And it's so difficult to understand how close is too close for this bot lane. Danny Cubebody, he's running the Glacial Augment. So you get one of these long-range auto attacks that applies to slow. Well, pretty much everything for Tom Kench also applies to slow, and end up stuck for good, as that's once again another kill scored up for the bot lane. HoneyBEE Esports, they have been coming up on all cylinders. That's the Rift Herald dropped, and might get even better. Yeah.
Pasho gets hit with a very nice timing, but he might be able to make it out. No, Crystal Lens make sure he does not. Tongue Lash connects, as he will make sure he is out safe and sound. Auction even drops down the box here, as he thought maybe there would be more of a commitment. Plastic back there, duoed with him. Syndra there as well, but they are not going to find anything as the bot lane is already disengaged. Just kidding. They have not
back in.
Oh, God, Danny. He's
That's
popping these guys like they're nothing. Crystal Lens says, I'm going to take one for myself. And well, as I said, they were disengaging. They definitely did not. They ran right back in there with the Righteous Glory, and they're going to collect an extra 2 kills.
And these are just mistakes. The last thing you need to make for the side of Purple Caster Minions. Their bot lane has been given over advantages left and right. It started with Summoners. If you recall that 1-2v2 where you had Purple Caster Minions bot lane playing aggressively, and then they realized, wait a second, this Tahm Kench actually does damage. You had the Thresh blow flash for that one. This time around, they're just straight up giving kills, and once again, it's so difficult to play against this bot lane when they're ahead. One Glacial Augment just means the Tahm Kench is all over you from that point on. You can even see the build he's going for. He's trying to be as aggressive as possible, rush the Righteous Glory, and now looking to get the Sunfire as well. This is pretty much as bruiser as it gets for the Tahm Kench, and he is a well-warranted... Oh,
Baboon goes in for Oxygen, caught out again. Crystal ends there with another kill, make it number 5. This gold lead extending further and further here for us, as it's about 7,000. Third dragon of the game. Looks like it might just be on the table here for the side of HoneyBEE Esports, and they are just running over their opponents here in this game number 2.
I'm serious, dude. The tables have completely flipped over. This time around, HoneyBEE Esports, it just came with the momentum of game 1.
Doesn't want it that bad.
That's fine.
Get himself out. But yeah.
Get the flasher blown. And Crystal Lens.
He wants it too.
Holy
He's gonna
moly.
go in. Pasho fairly tanky, so probably not gonna find a kill onto him. They are gonna eat him up though. Gonna lose a bit of his health as
look
he's
at
stunned
this.
on towards Crystal Lens. Baboon goes back in with a very nice parallel convergence, but he no longer has his ultimate. He dodges that ultimate there from the Sejuani as we see top lane. Syndra is actually in trouble. Axel goes back in. Pasho way too far forward. 2 kills down on the map. HoneyBEE Esports get their 3rd dragon, and now they're running it down the mid lane for this tier 2.
And it's all starting to fall apart now for Purple Caster Minions, as this tower just about assured. The side of HoneyBEE Esports, they are taking as much as necessary. They have no signs of stopping. The worst part, so many beefy frontliners to allow you to go for some of these dives later on in the game. It just goes all downhill to the side of Purple Caster.
Downhill. It's definitely one word you could use here. There is really no response we've seen whatsoever come out right now for the side of the Purple Caster Minions. They're 1-2 here in this Ocean Division. They're on track to being 1-3 unless they can pull the rabbit out of the hat here for us in this game, but it is not looking great whatsoever. They're losing resources left, right, and center. Danny's going to grab himself the red buff here. There at least is a lot of shutdowns that you can collect for yourself if you can find that miracle team fights here, but with being down so much gold, you almost just have to kind of pull something completely out there to be able to, just try and catch the side of HoneyBEE Esports off guard, because now they can just reset, look for some of these items that they're ready to sit on, ready to collect here for these 2 or 3 item power spikes, and they can start playing around this Baron, look for the engages with the long elastic slingshot from Axel, and they just pretty much have the ideal setup, and they're also just macroing around the map so well, so they're taking tower after tower.
Yeah, completely agree. I mean, you mentioned playing around that Baron. That's so easy. Because of the front line, because of the Zac Elastic Slingshot as well.
There we go.
There's the play.
Flash engage. That's the target they would have wanted. Axel now leads the charge, finds the flash engage. MF might be in trouble, and she is down. The Dawning Shadow comes out, gives them the shield they need to give them a bit more confidence to press forward. Exhaust is down onto Decker, likely going to eat him up as the Syndra is in the stomach of the Catfish, thrown out, sent to death. 3 kills now secured as they're knocking on the door and looking to break open the first inhibitor tower here at 21.5 minutes.
Man, and not aggressive enough, turns out. I thought it was too much, but once again, you're just finding it so easy to start to run over this game for HoneyBEE Esports. You've got the CCs, you got the bruiser Tahm Kench as well, and Duplicate just coming in towards the back of that fight. Not going to get hooked as well. It's going to be the easy exit. Or maybe not.
Almost kind of just gave Juice to get her way right back in there as we're going to see the Mordekaiser pull him in, but they don't want to commit to there's nothing else to really fight over. All the members, of course, back up would be a bit too risky, but the goal lead out of control here at the moment, over 10,000, 22 minutes in. Now all of these members are sitting with shutdowns over their head. They have so much gold to spend, and immediately, as soon as they get right back up, it's like they're just going to go right to that top lane there for a switch, start moving in towards this red jungle, warding, setting up the vision, denying vision, and just playing around this Baron. And they don't even have to take it. That's the best part. They can use Axel. They can use this Abyssal Voyage here to get behind enemy lines. And there's nobody that has enough damage in their kit to be able to actually find these kills onto the tanks. As Duplicate actually sticks around, gets pulled into the death realm. He says, that's more than okay. I'm just going to body slam you and RKO you right in towards the brush. Could maybe find himself a kill. Nice flash.
Nice flash.
Duplicate now just going to have to auto him to death.
Oh.
Abyssal Voyage comes in just in case he needed the extra hand, but Duplicate is going to be able to handle his lane opponent with ease.
Yeah, in case you needed the second top laner, he was always standing by at the ready with the Abyssal Voyage. Now is going to be another high pressure push. Looks like the Baron isn't even on the menu this time around. It's just the mid tower and the slingshot.
Very nice play, though. The box dropped down. Maybe going to stop them from going too far forward, but Baboon is waiting. There is the passive. He has the ultimate to get himself back out. He pops it. He is good. MF now the target. Let's Bounce coming down with the Dawning Shadow, and that is another one down for purple caster minions in the belly of Crystal Ends again, as 4 members are secured. This looks like the hot 2-0 is going to be coming through here for us for HoneyBEE Esports. They played exceptionally well in the mid to late game in game number 2, turning the tide, changing things around. Game number 2, this one is just pretty much done with ease from the early to mid game here. The death timers, though, they are going to be coming back up, so it does not look like they want to full-on commit for the Nexus Towers. We are going to live to see at least one more team fight.
At least one more, if that. Honestly, I don't even know if you're guaranteed a fair fight coming into contesting some of these objectives for Purple Caster. I mean, it's just, you're walking on a tightrope when you mention some picks like the Elastic Slingshot coming out from Axel, or even this Tahm Kench, who, by the way, I'm more scared of him than the actual top laner. Like, I'm genuinely more afraid of this Tahm Kench right now because Jupsa has had just a quiet, consistent game thus far. It just seems like Krista has been on fire, and as a whole, the entire thing just put together and really pieced marvelously for HoneyBEE Esports. They got small advantages in the mid lane.
Man. Oh, Plastic. You got subbed in, buddy, but I don't know if you want to be in this game right now. You are down. Duplicate. He picks up a very easy kill, number 5.
And all those animations, was it really necessary, man? Like, he's just dead after that one.
Well, Ashido is level 11, only level down to Axel here, and well, Zach doesn't have the best secure around the Baron. That is pretty much the only kind of miracle you're looking at right now for the side of the Purple Caster minions, and they're just going to walk right up to the very edge of this red quadrant, deny all the vision they possibly can. Crystal Land's so tanky here. He's like, hit me all you want, guys. Axel now going to pull the trigger and actually go in. Finds a double knock up in towards a few of the tanks, as Oxygen going to throw out the hook, does land onto Baboon, stops him from going all in, but it only brings them closer, and he takes down kill number 7. They're going to go in again with the Elastic Slingshot, Dawning Shadow, giving everybody the shielding they need. Support has already left the game. Oxygen does not want to see this game on a screen any further. Crystal End stays alive, as we're going to see another one fall. Shutdown at least does drop on towards Crystal End, as he is going to die for the second time, but it doesn't matter. 2 members down. 1 Nexus turret already deleted. Number 2 looks like it's going to follow in suit. There is no one here that can match the damage. No one here that can take down the health bars. And that will be HoneyBEE Esports finding a 2-0 week in week number 4.
And the junior varsity team not able to keep up with the power of friendship. HoneyBEE Esports, man. What a cohesive unit, really coming alive halfway through game 1 and never showed any signs of stopping. This game too, though, really just beautifully put together. It all went well, but really the biggest successes in the bot lane, the Senna Tahm Kench lane, the creativity of, you know, using the Tahm Kench as more of that carry in the early game, shifted over to Senna towards the mid game, but really it was still Crystal Lens. It was the Tom Kent show. Pretty much every single team fight, just vanguarding a lot of those. And as a whole, HoneyBEE Sports, they've been running over Purple, Caster, Minion, and they absolutely deserve this victory.
They deserve the victory. They played very, very well. They're climbing back up towards the top here, as like you said, 3-1 now, getting ready to jump in towards their week number 5 games, getting closer and closer towards First Blood and Bethany Esports here, who have both remained flawless, at least up towards this point. But going in towards this week number 4, it's a possibility that maybe they'll experience their first losses. We'll have to wait and see, as everything's going to have to plan out for us. But either way, beautifully done for the side of HoneyBEE Sports. They find themselves a very nice win with the hot 2-0 for themselves. Game number 2, really specifically the one that you got to look out for here, as this team was just completely online from start to finish. They ran the strategy worked out perfectly, and well, they certainly executed here for us, taking all the objectives, all of the kills. But that is going to do it here for the Upsurge Contenders League here for week number 4. Thank you guys so much for tuning in tonight. If you're still here, make sure you guys hit that follow button in the top right hand corner of the screen so you can stay up to date for when Upsurge does go live. And then down below, all of our links for the Discord, for the Twitter, everything like that, so that you can stay up to date for any announcements that Upsurge is going to be dropping here for you guys. Again, thank you guys so much for tuning in. We'll see you guys tomorrow for some UPL action.
There's a power that's underneath, and you can't see